Welcome to 3820 Podcast. I'm Rich G. Today, in the studio with us today is my nephew, Joseph Valadez. And today we're going to talk about a little bit about what he's been through, what he's doing, and where he's going. So let's get into this. What's going on, Joseph?
Pretty good.
Chilling or what, man?
Chilling. I mean, you could intro me as the above average Joe, I guess.
Yeah, you go. Yeah, the above average Joe
Like to
on.
bring that back.
Yeah, on YouTube. There you go.
Yeah.
Yeah, he has a couple videos on YouTube you all should go check out. It's the above average Joe. If you got some time, go check that out. He's really good behind the camera, good storyteller. So yeah.
Yeah, hopefully I could do that today.
Yeah. There you go. So today what we're going to talk about is Joseph. About 2 years ago, decided he needed a change, and he decided he was going to leave the town that he lives in and venture off to a new town just to see what's going on and what. But I want to talk about that because not a lot of people have done what he's done. People have gone to other cities and gone to other places knowing somebody or already having a job established or already have roots set down there from family members and things like that. And they go there with some kind of security. Joseph went to somewhere where he has no family, had no jobs, had nowhere where he knew where he was going to make money. So that
sound pretty stupid, right? I mean, just off
I
the
mean
cuff.
that is brave for one. You know, that is very different. I mean, some people like to. I understand some people travel. You know, and so I understand some people travel. They just, let's just go see the world.
Just take off.
But they have an agenda. There's, you know what I'm saying? They have like, I'm going to stay here for a couple of days. I'm going to stay there for a couple of days, and eventually I'm going to end up in this place.
Right.
Joseph had none of that. So he and for what it's worth, he had enough courage to do this. And I mean, I think that's what we really want to talk about. What I really want to do is I want to start with, where did the idea of this come from? Like, where did you decide to do this? And then what it took to get there. You know what I'm saying? And when you were there, how was it, not knowing anybody, not being around family?
It's a whole new world,
Yeah.
completely different from anything I've ever been to.
Really?
So, but I mean, I went there kind of just on a whim, I guess. It was for a girl.
How
Looking
did you
back-
meet this girl? Like online?
Yeah, online. Like there were some chat rooms and stuff, and we connected. And after about, I want to say 4 months of knowing her, I decided just to move.
Just in 4 months?
Just in 4 months, we met up like twice, I think. Looking back, it doesn't make any sense. Like I would not do what I did back then.
No.
No, absolutely not. So I was talking with this girl, and things were cool. We met up a few times. And I just told her, like, oh, it'd be really cool if I lived over there. Like, we could be closer. We could, like, hang out and just have a normal relationship. And she agreed. And so I looked into it, and I said, hey, like, what would it take for me to actually move over there? And she said, well, I mean, as long as you have a job and, my family could help, like, they can start you off. And you can live with us for a while, and then from there we can move on. And so I said, okay. I took that idea, and I went with it.
Wait. So 4 months, and their parents were allowing you to stay there.
Right? That's crazy. It's crazy.
Okay, go ahead. Sorry.
This whole story is crazy. So, I looked into, like, all right, how can I get a job? How can I transfer, working from my work experience here to over there? And at the time, I was working at Subway here in Raleigh, and I looked into, I mean, there's Subways everywhere, same experience. You're doing the same thing, making the same sandwiches. So I looked into that, sent some resumes, contacted some of the Subways down there, and then one Subway hit me up. It was this lady. She was young. She was probably like 25 years old. She owned the Subway because her dad owned it and then passed it on to her. So we got into contact, and we had an interview over FaceTime. and it was pretty weird. I dressed up still. I put on a nice shirt, and I made sure like I was behind a clean wall, and
Oh wow.
I set it up on a nice little stand, and then we just talked like a normal interview.
Uh-huh.
And so I let her know like, hey, if I was able to get this job, it would take me about a month until I could actually move into and start working. And she was fine with that. She said, that's fine. Go ahead and get your stuff going. Let me know when you're here, and then we'll set up like meet, get the paperwork, and then like get you on the schedule. And so that's what happened. She gave me the job. I let my girlfriend from that time let her know like, hey, like I got a job there. Like I'm gonna move, and her family said okay.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. Wow. Okay.
And so that's how that like started. That's how it,
So that's what set the ball rolling for you to get there.
yeah, basically, yeah. That's how
So now you needed money to get there.
uh-huh. And I didn't have any money. I went there, I want to say with like maybe like $300.
Oh my god.
I know. And I had no savings. I figured, all right, I'm going to move there, I'll have some money, and then I'm going to start working, so that's going to be like, just going to transition into just paycheck to paycheck. And that it worked for the time, I guess. I mean, I started working there. I only lasted at that Subway for 1 week.
What? Why?
It was different.
What do you mean different?
So the owner, she was young,
Right.
so I don't know if she just didn't know what she was doing or she just didn't really care all that much, but it was ran very odd. Like there was like it wasn't corporate standards. It was her like it was like home standards. Like she would use like Dawn dish soap like to wash their dishes instead of like the normal soap detergent. She would like have like normal scrub like
Scrubbing pads?
yeah, like scrubbing pads. Like her mops were like from home, and like it was like some Dollar Tree kind of stuff, and it was just kind of weird. Like they were just cutting corners in the wrong places, and also like they would watch the cameras, but like watch them, so that they would be calling you like, "Hey, why are you doing this?" And it's like, what do you mean? It's like, yeah, I'm watching you throw out the trash at this time. You're supposed to throw out the trash in 1 hour. And it's like, whoa, like you guys are really watching the cameras. Like
Wow.
they're not security cameras, they're surveillance
Yeah,
cameras.
yeah.
Yeah. So after 1 week, I just kind of like, I couldn't see myself there.
Yeah.
And so I, I quit there. I felt bad. I quit there over text because the the owner, she was kind of like in your face,
Oh, crazy.
Yeah, and I felt bad because she gave me the opportunity, and I appreciate that, but it just wasn't the right opportunity.
Mhm.
So I went to a different Subway. Uh, I interviewed with that guy, the new owner, and he gave me a job, and he told me to start in a couple days. So, but in the meantime, I was looking for a job because I had to find something different. Um, and so I was sending out applications, looking for like a full time position somewhere else. Uh, Good. And so I had um, I had some callbacks. I had some interviewers wanting me to go at certain times and days, and so I got one callback. Um, I got a call from an apartment complex. They were offering a full time position, 40 hours with benefits and all this stuff, and it sounded pretty nice.
Mhm.
So they told me to go to the interview, and the interview was at the same exact time of when I was supposed to start my new Subway job. So then I had to make a choice, to either go to this new Subway and work maybe, small amount of hours, or kind of skip on that and then try
To land
getting
the
a full time position. Yeah. So that's what I did. I kind of
skipped out on the subway.
I skipped on that Subway, and I said, let me just take this little jump. Like maybe I might, take a chance on it. And so I did that, and it worked, and I got the position.
Nice.
But it took a while for me to actually start working. So I didn't have that much money. So I was kind of living in some strange family's home who I've not had any like real connection with. this girl that I kind of figured out I didn't like all that much, and I was living in this brand new city, 9 hours away from home,
Wow.
and it was different. It was very weird.
Yeah, I mean, I could just imagine the anxiety
Hmm.
of knowing what's going to happen next. You
Hmm.
know, what is around the corner, and even if you couldn't, even if you would have spent your money and you had to get home, you know what I mean. Someone could wire you some money to
Right.
drive home, but that's not the point. You know, the
Hmm.
point is you're by yourself in a city where you know absolutely nobody
Hmm.
but one girl who you thought you really knew and really didn't. And uh, I mean, that's just it's hard.
Yeah, I mean, I'll admit it. Like, it was very dumb on my part. I was 19, and I just moved. I had 1 year of job experience, and I just took it as something new to try, and I don't regret it because it gave me a lot of experience in
Yeah.
some places, and helped me grow a lot. Um, but living there, it was strange. Um, so I found my job as a groundskeeper for this apartment complex, and at first it looked like a super professional job. I walked into this big clubhouse, and you saw the receptionist, you see the guy like pushing a cart full of mail, and you just see like residents and people, like it looked nice, and it just like was this luxury kind of look to it, and uh, I thought like I would start working there, and it would be like this nice, like, I don't know, a nice opportunity, to grow and kind of like see how like a real full time job would be.
Yeah.
And for a while, it was like that. For a while, probably after like 2 months, it changed. But those first couple of weeks were nice.
What do you mean it changed?
Um, there the attitudes of people changed, the job description changed. There's a lot of different, inside things that, is like things covered up that you didn't really see, the behind the scenes, basically.
Yeah. So you had a real job.
Yeah, yeah. So
Overwork, underpaid.
yeah, exactly. So I finally figured out what that meant.
Exactly.
Uh huh. And so I started working there, and it was um, in March 2017, and I had moved late February in 2017, and so this job was nice. It paid pretty well. It was better than any job I had before, definitely, like with the pay. So with that, I kind of like took it upon myself to start looking for a place for myself.
Hmm.
Uh, I wasn't able to afford an apartment. I would have to find someone to roommate with, and so it took about maybe 2 months for me to find a place to actually live in. And in the meantime, I was dealing with this girl, and that was like its own little thing. Um, we didn't connect all that well, like in person. It was just we're two very different people,
Right.
you know.
From
Uh,
two very different places.
exactly, yeah. We're raised differently.
Right.
Our families were different, and it was a struggle living in that house too, because they all lived, but they all worked in home, So they were homeschooled. Like her brothers and sisters were homeschooled. Their dad worked from home. The mom was a stay-at-home mom, and then they had a grandma that they were like help supporting, which she was retired, so she stayed at home. So imagine that, like about 8 people or 9 people in this big house all day, just
Every day.
every day. So there's really no privacy, like even just for yourself. Like if you want to go sit down and watch TV, well, there's two other people watching TV too. If you want to go make something in the kitchen, there's someone else grabbing some food, or the bathrooms are always filled, and it was a struggle. Like, and this is not my family, so when you're around someone, you're not so comfortable.
Yeah.
You don't act the same, so you're always like kind of like tensed up, and
Yeah.
it was like that every day. And I
Sheesh.
didn't have my own room. I lived in like the front room. So you open the front door, and that's my living space. I would stay in like,
The living room.
yeah. I mean, it wasn't the living room. It was like there was like a living room, but then
Oh, there was
you know,
still like a
yeah,
family room.
yeah, exactly, yeah. So that was my space. And I lived out of a little duffel bag, and I had this like small closet that I just tossed like any extra stuff that I didn't use every day. And yeah, it was weird. I'd come home from work and go straight to that little corner space and just kind of wait. And then if my girlfriend was there, we would hang out and eat and go do stuff. And if she wasn't, I would just be sitting there just on Netflix or playing some games, and then just awkwardly waving to the family like as they pass by, or just making that small talk. And it
That
was just,
awkward talk.
yes, very awkward. And that was a struggle, like
Yeah.
living there. Yeah.
So, when the girl that you were seeing, did she have a job?
Yeah, she did, and she lived. I mean, she worked. Maybe it was like 5 minutes away from home. It was a small little. It was at Rubio's, and she worked like maybe 15 hours a week. It wasn't anything crazy, but still, like it was weird. Like she was like my only friend there, basically. So yeah, it was weird.
Did you feel dependent on her because she was your only friend? Like not wanting to go out and do things unless she was there, or not really wanting to explore because she wasn't like there.
Yeah, a lot of the times because like I don't want to go out to some. I didn't know the location, so I didn't know like what the cool things were to do, and so I didn't have any friends from work or any acquaintances. So yeah, I felt very dependent, and that sucks too because like I don't want to have to be like, hey, you're my person that I have to go do this stuff with. Like, let's go. It would have been nice to kind of do that stuff on my own, which I could have, but I just chose not to.
Yeah.
But yeah, that kind of made things a little, you know,
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah. Because then, for one, you guys are living together, and then two, it's like every minute needs to be together. If we
right.
go somewhere, we have to be together. And
Hmm.
if I need to go do something, I need you to be with me, and I'm not going to do anything till you get home. And you know what I mean.
Yeah.
So I totally see that.
Yeah, and if there's like arguments, it becomes awkward, and so like you're just kind of spending the time at home being mad at
At
each
each
other.
other,
Yeah.
exactly.
So yeah, that was tough. And then I don't know. After a while, we kind of grew apart, and it was becoming like obvious, like she was talking to other people, and I was talking to other people, and eventually we were both talking to other people on actual dating apps. And it was weird because like it's not that I was cheating on her, but like she knew that we were just talking to other people. But because I was living in her house, that's just how it was. Like we were just like roommates at a point, at some point. So, and it was also weird. Like if I was going out with someone, I would have to like lie to her family, like because like
They still thought you. Well, yeah, because if you think about it, I'm not going to just let some guy who's not dating my daughter
hmm
live at my house while
yeah,
he's dating somebody else.
right,
Like, yeah, like the only reason why you're here is because of her.
yeah.
Yeah,
So it
that
was
must
kind
have
of
been
it's kind of weird, and since me and her would do everything always together, if I was gonna go out on a date, then hey, where are you going all of a sudden? So I had to make up lies like, oh, like my coworkers want to go do this, and all of a sudden I had friends. But really I was out going with some other people, and that was kind of awkward. Like it was like she knew, my ex girlfriend knew,
awkward.
and but her family didn't, and it was just like a weird, awkward, tense, like I don't know, but I didn't like that. Luckily, it didn't last for too long. Um, about in June, I think that's when I finally like moved from their house, and we split it off, and I became solo, single, but in my own place. Um,
So like 4 months.
yeah, so 4 months. So it was a
Damn,
little
that was
awkward four
yeah,
months. Yeah, it was super fast. Just
really fast.
yeah. So I was working at that place as a groundskeeper. I wasn't going the greatest, but I was managing it. And in that time, I was looking for a place to live, and I was on Craigslist a lot. Searching places to live with roommates.
Yeah.
Something cheaper, $600 a month, something like that. And luckily, as a groundskeeper, you're not really supervised that much, so you kind of go off and do your own thing. And when you have that opportunity, you kind of like it's
Search
more
it out.
free
Yeah.
time. So a lot of times, like, we'd be taking naps, or me and my coworkers, like, we'd be just like, chilling out, not doing much. So yeah, I would spend some of my time looking for a place to live. And I came across this one post, and the address looked familiar. And so when I looked at it, I realized that it was a block away from where I worked. And I was like, okay, like, what are the odds of that happening?
Right.
So I emailed the listing, and I got a response, and it was this old lady. She said, she has a bedroom, and upstairs bedroom with the bathroom, and $600 a month, and she said I can go view it like when after work. So one day I just went, down the street, and I went to her house, and she opens the door, she starts talking, and she's this old little British lady. I thought that was kind of weird, like the accent just came out of nowhere. And so she seemed nice, she was lonely. She had another two people, couple, living upstairs in a different room, and it seemed cool. So I was like, I'm down for that. Like, it's a minute drive from my work. Like, you
Yeah.
can't beat that.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
commute's
What are the
nothing.
odds of?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I just thought that was super weird. Like, you open the door, and across the street is a park, and next to the park is the apartments. And I was like, all right. So there was like a lot of little coincidences that happened that was
Yeah.
kind of like, oh,
Somebody's looking out for you.
yeah, I think so. Um, so me and her, we got in contact, and she offered me the listing, but she wanted to do it like a lease. So she ended up doing, like, at first she said a 4 month lease. I was like, okay, and then I went to go sign the paper, and then it said 6 month lease. I was like, all right, whatever, like, I'll try it out. So I signed that thing, told my girlfriend, I was like, hey, I found a place. Kind of said like hasta la vista, and I packed my car, came to move in, and that was it. That was my new home, and it was
For at least 6 months.
for at least 6 months. The next 6 months,
Yeah.
So I knew for certain I'd be there for the next 6 months, and it was strange again, finding another different place in a
Yeah,
new
yeah.
place, um, but yeah.
So when you did the transition from the ex girlfriend's house
hmm
to the new house, what did you tell the family you were doing? I'm moving out later.
Yeah, well,
Crazy
I told
people.
them that. I mean, that's what I wanted to say. It was really weird. Uh, I mean, like, I just told them, like, obviously, like, there's not a space for me here.
Right.
Like, I'm living in your living room, basically. So that was the plan all along, was to find a place for my own. So they thought that I found my place,
Oh.
and that we'd be together. It wasn't like clear
Oh,
to
so you
them.
guys didn't put it all out that you
Yeah,
guys
it
were the
wasn't.
same
Yeah,
job.
we didn't lay it all on the table just yet. It was kind of like, step by step. Like,
Yeah.
let's break it down slowly. So that's what happened. I got my place, and I told them, like, hey, like, thank you very much. Like, I told them I appreciated, like, the help. It was pretty big. They didn't charge me any rent. They
Yeah.
just helped me out, like, straightforward. And I told them I appreciated that. Like, that was the only way I was able to move, was because they helped me out. But still, like, they're different.
And what the ex say? Just peace.
No, I mean, like, she was, like, a little
Hurt.
sad.
Yeah.
Yeah, like,
Yeah, I'm saying
she
because I
wanted.
mean you get used to 4 months being with somebody, seeing somebody every day, even if you guys aren't on the greatest terms.
Right.
You're used to getting
Yeah,
up in
your
the morning,
friends, at
and
least,
yeah,
your
and still
people
you
that
still
you're
seeing
close to.
somebody.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So yeah, it did sting for her, and I mean, I was a little upset about it, because, like, I didn't have any more friends. Like, that was
yeah.
it.
That's what I was gonna say. Now that security is gone,
hmm
of knowing somebody that can take you around the city or
Right.
show you or anything,
Someone to call just for
someone
help.
exactly if
Yeah.
something happens or who are you gonna call now? You know what I mean? Now
Right.
your one friend that you have in this, the whole reason why you came is now no longer cool with you. You
Yeah.
know what I mean? Like,
Yeah. So I'm actually alone,
right.
like, off on my own, and that was. It didn't hit me until after a while, when I kind of, like, realized, like, okay, I'm on my own. Like, a few weeks after living in this new place, I was just like, man, it's kind of boring. I don't have anyone. I haven't talked to anyone. Haven't hung out with anyone in, like, a while. And I started, like, thinking, like, I don't know if I'll be able to do this.
Yeah.
But I stayed on that app. I was talking to people. Just talking, just to have conversations. And a while after living there, um, I I met up with the new girl, and she lived pretty far away, about an hour and a half. And so I kind of like figured like, all right, that's a little too far. I can't really be driving almost 2 hours just to go see someone to come back. You know, so we stayed friends, and I continued to work, and she became like my new go to, like the person I would talk to like morning to night, and then same thing the next day. So that was nice to have someone like that again, and so and like also with moving away, like you miss your family a lot. You don't realize like how much like a daily interactions with your family you have until like you just can't have them anymore. You start missing those little things like just going over for dinner or watching TV with them. All of a sudden it's just like, oh, like I'll call you when I can reach you, or things like that. It kind of like gets to you after a while. So I would try my best to do like a trip about like maybe once a month. Usually I could find the time to set like a weekend off and go. But again, that was 9 hours, 9 hour drive.
Yeah, for
So
just what, a Saturday, and
yeah,
getting there. If you left on a Friday, got there Saturday, then you're jetting home Sunday.
exactly.
So
So
for one day.
it takes a whole day just to get down there. You spend the night with them, spend the next day with them, and then next day, all right, see you guys. Gotta go back to work. So, and it sucks, you're tired. That's it's a job in itself just to do this traveling.
Yeah, I understand, and I know how you feel. Just because I mean, mine wasn't 2 hours, but I mean, mine wasn't 9 hours. It's only 2 hours.
Right.
But when I moved down here with your Thea, obviously we had Alina, but I didn't know nobody. I had zero friends here. You know what I mean? And that was hard. The hardest part was getting in an argument with your significant other and having nowhere to go. I couldn't. I could jump in my car and drive 2 hours to San Diego,
Yeah.
but for what? To jump back in the car and drive 2 hours when I cool off? You know what I'm saying? I
Yeah.
didn't have like a friend that I can go to his house and be like, oh man, she's tripping. I'm just gonna hang out here for a little bit. Nothing, zero.
Yeah.
And all my friends at the time were her friends.
Uh,
You know what I'm saying? So, and I didn't want to bring any of them into it. You know
yeah.
what I mean?
You don't
But
want to like air out your dirty
yeah,
laundry.
exactly. So I understand what you mean by, the, I was cool. And, at the time I was really good with, you know, uh, her parents and stuff, but like I said, I just didn't know anybody.
Yeah, you don't have your people.
No, and I didn't have no friends. And, I can call some friends and talk to them or whatever. But I mean, I wasn't able just to go see them or go have a beer or go
Hmm.
watch a game or do anything. It was just like, well, you're here. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And what do this is
Just
all you
gotta
got.
stick through
Yeah,
it.
you
Yeah.
just got to stick through it and ride out that wave. So I understand you on that point.
Yeah. So it got tough for a while, and that's when I saw like a different side of me. I would get at nights I would just get lonely, like
Yeah.
didn't have anyone to talk to. So it just that was the struggle part, like me, like emotionally, like
Hmm.
being alone. Like I never had that. I was always with family, so that was tough. But one time I came down to visit family, spent a couple of days, and then on the way back, I figured, what, since I'm already traveling, why not, take that, detour and go see the girl that I was talking to, since we were like, hitting it off as friends, like, why not, further that and just like, just talk. So on the way back from uh, visiting, I did that when we met up in a dark a dark parking lot, like at 10 at night, because she just got off work. So it was kind of weird. I didn't I didn't know what to expect. I mean, I didn't think much of it. I just figured like she would just come out, just be a normal girl, and she was. But she could have been like some killer that was waiting for me to go, and you never know.
Yeah, you never know.
Yeah. So, but it was cool. We met up. Uh, Her car was a little older, and I think it had a broken window. So, uh, we decided just to like sit in my car for the time being, and we talked for a while and stuff like that, and we kissed and stuff like that, and we weren't paying attention, but the security of the little parking lot, it was like a strip mall, I guess.
Yeah.
They were driving around, and all of a sudden you hear a knocking on the thing, and then you look up and there's a flashlight in your face, and I'm like, oh crap, like it is shocked, So he just, he told us to roll down the windows, and he's like, you guys got to get out of here, and so we just left, and we left initially just in my car. Like I forgot that she had her own car. We just took off because like they scared us. And we chilled out for a while so that they can like calm down or like
Yeah.
leave. And then later on, I dropped her off. It was funny though, because like when I went to go drop her off, like she just said like, you could just drop me off and like leave because they'll probably like come back and like try to talk to us or whatever. And so that's what I did. Like I went right behind her car. She popped out, tuck and roll, and then I went, flipped a U-turn and went out the parking lot. And I looked in my mirror and I see their little golf cart, following me.
you.
Yeah, but I'm already in the street, so good luck catching me. And then I saw, I looked to the side and there they are talking to her, and I was like, ooh. I was like, well, that's
Gotcha. Can get us both.
Yeah, yeah. So I was like, I'm home free, just gotta go home.
Can't get us both.
Yeah, so that was a funny little incident. But after that happened, she texted me. She's like oh, like we're clear. Like they just wanted to talk to me, and because they knew that she worked there and stuff like that. But so from there, I had a friend, and it was nice. I kind of changed my mind from my initial thought of an hour and 30 minutes is too long. But when I figured it out, like she's my only friend, it became like nothing. I would just drive down some days. Yeah, like that's the closest thing. It's either that or 9 hours, and that beats it. So she became my best friend from there, and it would just become this routine of working, my 5 days, and then the next days off I'd take off over there, hang out with her, come back late, 4 a.m. Just sometimes I would go in between the weekdays, like the work weeks. Mm-hmm. So I'd take off like right after work at 4, drive down, get there at 6, hang out, and then come back at like 3, and then come back at 3, sleep like 2 hours, and then start working again.
And sleep at work.
And then sleep at work. Yeah, exactly. Find a little empty unit and then fall asleep and get paid for it.
Right.
Yeah. So that happened for a while, and like although it was nice to have people, it sucks still like not having like consistent. Yeah, exactly. So along with that, work was it was slowly crumbling, like not just like my position, but like the whole like the business of it. Like they were management, people started getting fired, people were leaving. It was just like slowly like going down, and it's like a sinking ship basically.
Wow.
Yeah. So since me and my coworker, like I actually became really close with my other groundskeeper coworker. Mm-hmm. He would he was around my age. He was 23 at the time. I was 20, and he was like my friend, but we weren't friends. We wouldn't hang out after work or anything. We would be the ones at work, like laughing and joking, but that's all it was. And since we were like at the lower positions, things would always get like thrown at us, like, hey, how come this is bad? How come this is broken? Why don't you guys do more? And it like broke us basically. Like we at a point we just stopped caring. Like we would go and sit in like a garage or like an empty unit for like a couple hours. Like just like they don't care anyway, so why should we? But like he was like a psycho. Like he was like actually like psychotic.
Psychotic?
Yeah. Like his behavior would like flip. Like if something like triggered him, like he would just like snap and just like go off on anything. Like he would start breaking things. He would just start like throwing things. And I'm like, bro, like you gotta chill out. Sometimes he would throw stuff and it would bounce back and hit me, and I'm like, yo, like chill. Like we would like not push each other, but like we'd get in each other's face. And but I mean, like we were cool with each other. Like
Yeah.
so, like that was cool to have something like that. But uh, but like with management, they don't like us being buddies. You know,
Yeah. Yeah.
they wanted us to split apart and like do our own things.
Yeah.
Uh, so we got in trouble a lot, but it was only us two, and
Yeah.
so it was a 500 apartment complex. It was a big thing. You know, there's three separate lots
It's
of
500 units.
yeah 500 units. Yeah, so with that comes with a lot of people and a lot of trash, a lot of things to clean up. So it was never clean. There was two guys. You know, there was usually three, but one quit like months before, and they weren't able to fill that position. So we had temps, and we had like yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
And if you think about that, even if you broke that in half, you know what I mean? That's 250 units per person.
yeah.
It's not going to get done.
No,
Yeah, I mean,
you know,
like
with
it's
people
not.
moving in and
Yeah,
out, and
it's
like
not.
yeah,
It's not going to get done.
yeah.
And
So
people on weekends having parties at the pool and doing whatever they're
yeah,
doing, throwing trash
exactly.
everywhere and barbecuing.
All their dogs.
Yeah, it ain't gonna get done.
Yeah, so it was just kind of like upsetting because it was like you get what you pay for.
Right.
You're paying for two guys to do the work of like five. Yeah, it wasn't gonna happen. So you know we get written up, we get like talks, and eventually we were just tired of it. And with me knowing that I signed that lease, I felt stuck. I was like, okay, I'm here until I signed the lease in June, so I'm there till what, November or December?
December.
Yeah, December. So I was already like midway. I was in September, you know, and I was thinking like I don't want to work here anymore. And also at with living in that little, you know, that townhouse with that lady, it was getting weird too because she was lonely. Like
She
she
don't tell me she was making passes at you.
no, no, no. I mean, at least I don't think so. Like I would ignore a lot of the things she would say, but it was just like she was getting into your business a lot, you know?
So she's acting like your mom.
Yeah, basically. Yeah, yeah. So, I mean, I'm a young guy. I don't know how to cook all that well. So I'd go to the grocery store, get frozen things, you know, instant noodles and stuff like that. And she was a nurse back in her days. So, of course, every time I'm in the kitchen, she strolls over and, oh, what do you have there? And she'd be
That's not
like,
good for you.
exactly.
You need to drink a
Like,
little
you
tea.
need more fish oil.
You need to drink tea.
Yeah. And so,
Fish oil.
yeah, she would tell me like to take all these vitamins, and I'm like, look, I'm just trying to reheat my pizza.
Need a little tea tree oil.
Exactly. So like it would become awkward just to go downstairs to like heat up a meal because she would come and bother me for a good like 40 minutes.
While you ate your food.
Yeah, and I'm just like, oh my gosh. So I would wait until it was like midnight to
go eat.
To go eat. Yeah.
Wow.
I know. I felt like not
It's
scared,
like
but
you're a damn prisoner in your own house you pay for.
exactly. Like I wasn't scared. I was just like, I'd rather not deal with like whatever
Hear it.
she had. Yeah, it was just becoming like an annoyance, you know.
Yeah.
So I would wait, or I would hear out, you know. I would listen if the TV was on, or if I heard the door shut, the garage moving. I was like, all right, go time. Run downstairs, grab my snacks and you know fruits and stuff, and then prepare for like you know who knows like another 6 hours until she actually goes to sleep. So you know,
Oh,
so that
shit.
sucked.
Why didn't you just go buy like a hot plate or a microwave
I
just to
know,
put in your room?
right? I know. I should have, but
Like a little microwave. You could
yeah,
have just freaking a little ice chest.
I know. Yeah, honestly, like she would probably get mad at that because she didn't want like shoes even upstairs. Like you come inside, you take your shoes off and leave them by the door.
So
You know.
she had a bunch of rules.
Yeah, a lot of rules. You know, and
I
the
mean,
place.
for every right, it's her house.
Yeah, you know. And it came furnished. You know, it had a desk, a drawer, and like a full size bed. You know, it was everything you needed. But that would have been nice, yeah, to have like some extra stuff. Like I
Even
would,
just a microwave.
yeah, you know, like because I would have like granola bars. I would have like little snack packs, like just like stuffed away like in my closet, just so like I can have something whenever like I don't want to go downstairs. But I was like, that this is not this
That's
is no
not
way
life.
to yeah, this is no way to live. Like
No,
I'm
no.
afraid of this little British old lady, you know, like annoying me. Like it wasn't fun. So I just it was getting to me like, all right, my job and my place like of living is not cutting it.
Do you think that's because those things just bothered you, or you weren't comfortable with where you were at? in a hole,
Yeah, it might have been that. I
and
mean,
everything that was going on was just icing on that cake.
yeah, because like the money was nice. That was the only thing that was keeping me going was like the money, like the pay. Like I would get my constant, same paycheck every week, and but it just wasn't really worth it.
Yeah,
It was keeping me afloat, and I had a lot of extra money just to do stuff for myself, but I didn't have people to do it with. Like
yeah.
the
What's the point
closest
of that?
person was an hour and a half away, and so like I didn't see the reason for being there anymore.
They didn't have no dating sites in your town.
Well, they did, but the way it worked is like it's like a radius, you
Oh,
know.
so the finer ones are out of town.
Yeah, that's how it works.
You want the mediocres or you want
Yeah,
the fire?
down the
You
street.
gotta
Yeah,
you gotta find. You gotta go a little bit further.
exactly.
You gotta travel for
Yeah, you gotta look for them. So, uh, so me and this girl, we were talking more and more, and we decided to start dating. You
them.
know, and we started dating, and like that was going smooth.
And how many months are you in already in this town in the city before you two start dating?
It must have
So you
been.
said September, October. So you're in like October.
We started dating in July,
Okay,
so we
wait,
went fat.
June,
Uh
July.
huh.
So okay, so you get there February,
Uh huh.
February, February, March, April, May. You're already moved out into your new spot.
Yeah, basically.
From May, June,
Mm-hmm.
you start dating this other girl.
July.
July,
Uh huh.
July. So
Yeah.
you're only by yourself a month,
Yeah.
and now you're already okay.
Yeah.
Okay, we're caught up.
Yeah.
Okay, and you still need August, September, October, 4 more months to
Mm-hmm.
get out of this lease.
Right.
So this city that you're in right now, this girl's an hour and a half away in another city.
Right.
Okay, so even just to get closer to her, you got
Mm-hmm.
to wait till your lease is up in order to
To even think
move
about
or think
moving.
about moving out.
Right. Yeah. And so, um, like we were dating and such, and like she was like my support system. It was super helpful to have that. And one day, work was like really bad. They had like a visit, and the higher ups were walking the property, and they just weren't happy with what they saw because it's only two guys. And so at the end of the day, they called us into the office. They had this pre-written, like 2-page long, uh, like I guess write up of things that we didn't do, that we were supposed to. And the thing that sucked about it too is that they were like, it was like dates. Like it's like, oh, and this day on April 20th, you forgot to do this. It's like, how are you gonna bring that up or
Yeah, how can they write you up for
right?
something that's already been past tense?
Exactly. I'm pretty sure that's actually a law. Like
Yeah, you
you
can't
can't
do
do
that.
that.
That's
Yeah.
illegal.
Yeah. So, but they still have that stuff, like, oh, and this day on, in July, you didn't do this. We found a mouse inside this washer in this random unit. Like, how's this being pushed onto me? So, with hearing that, living in that place, just like not being happy, I just kind of like, I took a day off, like a personal day, and I went to go see my girlfriend. And my coworker, he was fed up with it too, but he had found himself another job, so he was already set and ready to go. And he told me that he was gonna put his 2 weeks in, and so I was like that's it, like no more no more friends at work, no more like just no people to talk to, just working and being treated like in such a way. So I took that personal day, and I went to go hang out with her, and uh, I don't know, like the day went nice. I was just like, it was nice to be around her and her family, and like finally have people like I can relate to and like joke around with, and I was like, man, I missed that, like,
Yeah.
and so like it came to me like what do I do? Like, do I move home? Like, do I move over here? But I still had like 2 months over there, like at my lease. So I had saved up a little bit of money, and I had made the decision to quit my job, to pay off my lease at the little house, and then to just move over, with my girlfriend, um, to start another life in a new city, in a new job, and all that. Basically, in the same time, same week, and so that's what happened. Like I I cut whatever I had in Sacramento, and I decided like, all right, I'm gonna push my stuff over to Modesto and try my luck there, because like it just wasn't working in Sacramento.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So now that you're out of your job,
Mm-hmm.
no income, you paid off your lease,
Mm-hmm.
which is like what, $1,200 at the time or something
Yeah.
like
And then I got like a kickback because of the deposit.
that. Okay, so like say $1,200 you paid off and got more or less $1,000. Now, where are you living in Modesto?
So that's the thing that we were trying to figure out. My girlfriend's mom had a coworker who was looking for someone to rent out a room. And it was gonna be cheap, like 400, I think, like just that flat rate 400. And so like she set up a little, like, I guess, an interview for me to go and see how the place looked and how we meshed. And the lady, she was nice, She had a kid, and it was just them two in this, like, I think 3-bedroom house. And she said that she wanted me to live there, and she couldn't offer me a place there because she didn't own the house. She was renting it, but from her family. So her parents are like the landlords, and she said in order for me to live there, they would have to interview me as well. And she said that there was a problem though, is that her parents didn't, like, they weren't along with the idea of her getting a roommate,
Especially a guy room.
like, especially a guy roommate, yeah. And so she said that her dad would probably be against it and kind of, you know,
Standoffish.
yeah, exactly. So we ended up talking with the parents, and they came over, and it's exactly what she said. Like, they are not having it. They're not even interested in the idea. Like, I'm sitting there, like, trying to be my best and, like, being, like, all nice and tell good things about myself, but they're just asking all the negatives, Like,
Like what?
they're just saying, oh, like, well, they ask me this stuff like, oh, do you smoke? Do you drink? Do you do drugs? This and that. I say no, never done that. And then they said something like, they just asked like, oh, like, what if you can't pay the bills? Like, what are you gonna do then? And what happens if you, I don't know, like something like an emergency? Like, how are you gonna pay for this? Blah blah blah. Like, I don't know. They weren't really into it. Like, they were just trying to,
Yeah, they're drawing at straws.
yeah, exactly. So at the end of it, like, I just kind of wasn't having it. Like, he was just giving me like attitude, and I was kind of giving attitude back, and I just kind of like I don't want to do this. Like, if
Yeah.
that's how it's gonna be, like, I don't want to live in another place that I don't like.
Some
So
guy keeps coming over and giving you
yeah,
an attitude.
right. So like he was giving like some weird rules, like he didn't want my car to be in the front. He wanted to be like across the street, and he didn't want me to have friends over. I was like, okay, like, it's like he doesn't even live there. Like, it was just weird. So but like I didn't really have any choices, so I kind of had to like go with it because like I didn't have any place to live. I was homeless, like I didn't have a job. I didn't have a place to live, so I kind of just like went with it. Like, all right, I'll just face it. Like, just do what I can do, and so that was gonna go through, but there was some weird communications. Like, they wanted to do a credit check on me, and they wanted to like check my bank accounts and stuff like that. So like they gave me forms, and they're like, all right, fill out your information, do this and that. And I'm like, no, like that, no, like you're not even like you're not a company, you can't
Yeah.
have my information. Like, why am I just gonna give that out to you? So I was like, no, like that's no. So I left like I wrote, like my, like, how you'd apply at a normal place. I wrote down all my information, like my age and this and that. But I left everything else blank, didn't give them my
Social,
accounts.
yeah.
Yeah, nothing like that. Because there was no reason for them to have it. So I guess that like ticked them off, and they were giving their daughter a hard time, and she was like not giving me any like communication with what was going on, but I needed to move. I needed to move. So that ended up just like not going through. So all of a sudden, like I'm out of this little offer. I don't have a job. I don't have a place to live, and I finally, I actually got found a job. I started to I applied at a Target, and my first day was gonna start pretty soon, but I'm thinking to myself like, how am I gonna, like
Where am I going to get dressed? Where am I going to?
exactly,
Yeah,
like how
yeah,
am I gonna get ready for my first day of work in
yeah.
my car, like. But luckily, my girlfriend's mom, she just said like, she felt bad, I guess, because
That was her friend.
that was her, yeah, her reference basically,
Yeah.
So since that fell through, you know, she brought it upon herself to let me live at her house, and and then like I'm in the same situation again, like I'm in someone else's house.
In the front room.
No, this time I'm actually in the bedroom, but I'm in their house, and it's just different. Like I'm in a different house in a different city, like all alone again, and I just find
You're
myself, yeah,
in the same situation.
yeah. But this time, I like the girl. I like her a
Yeah.
lot. So,
And the
but
girl liked you, so that
yeah,
was good.
yeah, exactly. So I I found I got a job at Target, and here's another little thing that was just kind of like out of coincidence, I guess you could call it. But I I originally applied to work in the back part,
Hmm.
like the warehouse, I guess you would call it, and I go there, and it's just a seasonal opportunity, and but I was just like, I need any job. So I go there, dress all nice, and I'm about to get like my first interview. It was like a group of people, like they were just like doing interviews like that whole day, like tons of people going through. So I had my first interview with this lady, and then she seems cool. She's like younger, and we start talking, and I tell her about my experience at Subway, like working alone, this and that, working with food, and then she says, "Well, how would you like to like work at Starbucks? Since there's Starbucks and Target." And I was like, "Oh, I've never really thought about that. I kind of figured like Starbucks is something hard, like it wasn't like something I would drink often. I had no idea about the product, and so she offered me to work there, and it was gonna be like how would you say, like a part-time position. It wasn't seasonal, and so that went through, and she moved me on to her boss. Her boss approved it, so then all of a sudden I'm working for Starbucks inside Target, and I'm like,
So
okay, cool.
are you working for Target and just working in Starbucks, or now you're employed by Starbucks?
No, it's for Target as a Starbucks. No, like, I'm working for Target. Yeah,
Okay.
I get paid by Target. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah,
I
okay.
just wear a Starbucks hat
Yeah.
and an apron.
Right.
So like I could technically go charge someone at the cash registers if I
Oh,
wanted
okay.
to. Yeah. Um, so uh, after about a week of working there, my manager, the one who had interviewed me, she had told me that her her and her boyfriend um, were looking for someone to rent out a place, right? And they said that originally that they had a roommate that they were gonna move with, but that they backed out. So um, they had to come up with this security deposit and like the first month's rent by this day, blah blah blah, this and that.
So wait a
And
minute. She didn't even know that you needed a place to stay. She just was making conversation to
yeah,
you about this.
yeah, like I was sitting in like how they have a cafe area like with a Pizza Hut thing. I was just sitting there, and she came by with on her break too. She started to ask me stuff, get to know me a little bit, and then she just started talking about like her situation and stuff like that, and kind of like clicked in my head. I was like, does she know that I need a place? I was gonna ask her right there, like, hey, like I need this, you need this, like let's make it happen. But then like I don't know if that's what she was asking. Uh, but she didn't really know that I was looking for a place. Um, so uh, so I keep going, and I'm looking for places on different apps, um, and then I'm scrolling through like little listings, and then I see hers, and I'm like, oh, what are the odds, So I see like her name and then her boyfriend, and it says the exact same thing that she was saying, and then so I'm like, like should I ask her, I thought it was kind of like unprofessional because she's my manager, but at the same time, I was like, I need a place, you know? And so I just text her, like, since I already had her number, I text her. I was like, hey, sent this long text, like, not to be like unprofessional or whatever, but, we could both help each other out in this situation. And she didn't get back to me until the next day at work. And she brought me to the back of the little Starbucks area. And then she's like, all right, listen, like, since I'm a manager, like, you can't, like, we cannot be, yeah, we can't hang out. We can't be seen together. Like, you and I are just, like, coworkers and acquaintances. But she said, but I need someone to fill that spot. So that, um, she said that she would offer me, the place, but that we have to keep it like down low, like not a single soul could know about it, or else she can get fired. I could get fired, and like the operation's done. Like
Right.
that's it. So so then she comes in with the security guard, like how they have like a little asset protection guys.
That's her boyfriend.
Yeah, that's her boyfriend, and they're not supposed to be dating
Oh
either
my
because he's
gosh.
security. He's watching cameras. She's like a manager, and so like they're not supposed to be together. And so with
She's
that,
breaking all the rules.
yeah, she's breaking all the rules. So I was like, okay, if she's doing that already, like it's fine.
Yeah.
Like she can keep that under wraps. Like we'll be fine. So, like I gave her like the money that I had, and then the next paycheck that I was getting, it was like I'm like, hey, I'll give this straight to you. Like I don't have the money right now, but I'll have it to you once we get paid. And she was fine with that. And now I'm living with new roommates, and I'm living with my manager.
Wow.
That it was just weird, like it's kind of weird because she was kind of the one that kind of drove me to work at Starbucks, but then also she was the one that I ended up living with.
Yeah.
So I thought that was like a weird coincidence,
Yeah, that
like
is kind of weird.
yeah, like what are the
Like
odds of that happening?
The cards and all that were laid out.
Yeah,
Already.
exactly. So I thought like I just found that funny. Like I always found that funny, like how that ended up to happen.
Yeah.
And I don't know. They were nice. They were cool. They had friends over all the time, and I kept to my room. And I like living in Modesto. It was nice. It was better than Sacramento. Like it felt more homey. In Sacramento, it felt more business and like it felt bigger.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So Modesto's smaller than Sacramento.
Yeah, there's a lot of stuff to do, but it's definitely smaller than Sacramento. But there's still, it feels tighter, like a tighter community. In Sacramento, there's like a lot more, like highways and freeways and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it was a nice change.
So what ends up happening now?
So I end up living there, and like it's cool. Like I don't mind them. Like I'm just like I'm not a social person, so I didn't like hang out with them that much at all. But uh, I started living there in November. Yeah, November, probably closer to December. And the plan is just to kind of just live there until like we see what happens next. Me and my girlfriend were just, living our lives there, and then we decide that that maybe we can move to start school, start college off, and I can go back into college and try do some classes again. But that was it. Like once I'd moved to Modesto, I got a little bit more settled, and started meeting like more people and doing more things, and that was good.
It was a good move for you.
Yeah, it was a good move. Yeah, and then in the next year, 2018, in June, we moved back down and we moved together, and then that was it. Like I made the full circle, going place to place.
Yeah, from your hometown.
Yeah,
To two different places,
yeah, two different big cities and
back home.
back home. Yeah, it's kind of like just a snap to reality. Like I don't know.
So how do you feel? What do you feel? I know you said that it was a big learning experience, but what do you feel? I mean, obviously you wouldn't take it change it in any way. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Because those type of moments shape you. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
They build you up as a person, as a man, and you start to learn to do for yourself. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And learn to survive. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? And if you whoever's listening to this story right now, if you can't tell Joseph is for surviving, like, you know what I mean, and some some lucky
Mm-hmm.
stuff going on there.
Yeah.
Obviously, there's
There's someone helping
somebody
you out.
looking out for you.
Yeah.
But so what's now? Like, what's the take on that? Like, what do you? Um,
Well, that helped me out. Like it like how I said, like I would not do what I did in the beginning and just move. Like
yeah.
I had no money, no plans, nothing. And so
So now, do you think this is going to deter you from making a move,
I don't
or
think so. I think it's just gonna help me understand what I need to do and like how to get there
better
easier.
planning?
Yeah, because you need to follow some steps in order to get to certain places. You can't just go, you know,
Yeah.
go all full send, to it. So I kind of like using that experience. It just like made me understand like, all right, as an adult, you need to do things the right way. You just can't like
Get up
can't just yeah
emotionally.
exactly yeah. So but I mean it was tough too. Like living on my own. I had to pay all the bills on my own and make sure that I have money for food. And also, you want to do stuff. You don't want to just work, to live. And then sometimes I just wouldn't have enough money for food. Like I would just be eating, just top ramens and stuff like that. Sometimes just won't even eat because I don't have enough money to do that. And like that was a weird time. Like I was poor, but like I was living in this nice place in this nice neighborhood with a job, and like I
And
had
still poor.
yeah, and so poor. Like I had security, but I just wasn't. I was just working. I was working to survive, and then that was it.
Yeah.
So and I didn't like that, but
It gives you a different perspective on
yeah,
life.
exactly. Yeah, it kind of helps you manage your money more and just understand like what your priorities are, and it gives you more responsibility. Like because you have to work to get your money just to pay your bills. Like you can't skip out on any days.
And I think that's where, when you do stuff like that, like everything that you've been through and everything that you've seen, and say coming into a relationship with somebody who hasn't experienced those things,
Mm-hmm.
it's harder for them to understand the concept of saving, the concept of, holding on to cash and figuring out what you need to do,
Right.
because some people come out of it and they're just like, hey, I got some extra loot. Let's go here. Or, I want to buy
Mm-hmm.
this. I want the new watch. I want the new, whatever video game. I want the new whatever, and it's
Yeah.
like, okay, there's a time and a place for that, but at the same time too, it's like we need to save for our goal, you know what I mean? If you have one.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I think those type of things really tend to shape us, into who we're going to be in the future,
Mm-hmm.
and you're still young. And I mean, that's like an experience that not a lot of people are going to go through, dude.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, it was crazy. Like I think about it, like it just seems like a movie to me because like of the time frame and how I ended up back home. I just kind of look back at it and I'm like, man, I really did that. Like it
Yeah.
was just, I just it was weird. Yeah. I can't even explain it sometimes. Like
Yeah.
I don't know. It was a good experience though.
So what's the plan now? Another
Uh,
trip somewhere or what?
maybe eventually, but not for a while. It's a little tiring, but yeah, but it's a struggle moving. Like I really don't understand like how someone can move from one like town to another, or even further. Like uh, there's a lot that goes into play, and that's what I didn't realize. It's not just finding a job there. It's not just finding a place. You just have to like really ground yourself in a new situation. So I don't know. Like that's a struggle. Like I don't know how I would be able to do that if I wanted to again. But you definitely need help.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can't do it on your own.
And that's the thing too. Think about these people who are moving cross country, military or whatever, and they're like uh, packing up a U-Haul. Him and them, their wife and their dog, and they're
Yeah.
fucking on this, U-Haul to a new state. It's like it's a trip, man.
It's
It's
crazy.
crazy, and not knowing what the future is gonna hold or what it's gonna bring. And yeah, man. Well, I mean it's really hard, because you know I have like a similar situation with that, and it has nothing to do with moving, but in those listening to your story, and you're saying about like not having a place to stay and not having those type of things. There was a period um, in my life where I was going through situations like that when my mom and my dad divorced and they sold our house and we didn't have nowhere to go. You know what I mean? And my mom went and stayed with my aunt and stuff, and I pretty much was staying on people's couches, and you know what I mean. So I could feel you. You know
Yeah,
what I
like
mean?
you
And
don't have a place.
you
Like,
don't. You have no. You don't belong nowhere. You know what I
yeah.
mean? And you're like been uprooted, and it's like you don't want to stay at your buddy's house too long, and he
Mm-hmm.
needs to go to sleep, and his girlfriend's looking at you side eyed, like, when the fuck are you gonna go home? You know what I mean? And it's like, um, and you have family members, but you don't want to ask them to stay there, and you don't want to, uh, you know, be that dude that's just hanging out at people's houses,
Yeah.
and it's weird. It's a
Like
weird
you want to
feeling.
provide for yourself. Like
Yeah,
you don't want to always rely on someone, even though you have those people.
yeah,
You don't want to feel like you have to like lean on them.
exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, you want to do it by yourself, and it's hard, man. The struggle is real,
Yeah.
And I mean, yeah, not a lot of people can go through that and come back with a positive outlook or even a positive outlook on life. I mean, it's hard. It's hard
Yeah.
when the world kicks your ass. It's hard to get back up. You know what I mean? So yeah, man, props to you.
Thank
So,
you. Thank you.
Yeah, man, that was a good story. Really
Thank you.
good story.
Appreciate it.
Yeah.
Thank you for having me on here.
Yeah, no problem, dude. No
Get to
problem.
tell my story a little bit.
Yeah, maybe we can get a movie out of this. Maybe we can
Let's do
get
it.
you to direct a little documentary. You know what I mean? And we can put it up on the YouTubes.
Maybe we'll add a little twist to make it different.
Yeah, you know what I mean? Or not even that, just the narrating it, and we can see, because, you painted a pretty good picture, but to actually see those cities and those areas and, where you talked about, like,
Right. Yeah, it's a whole different like illustration of it. Yeah.
that would be nice,
Yeah.
put a nice little short film together so people can actually see what's going on, you know what I mean? Would be pretty cool.
Yeah.
So
Maybe I'll use the podcast just over some video.
yeah, we can do that too.
Yeah.
Yeah, we can film some video. We can just throw the audio over that. Yeah, that'd be pretty good.
Yeah, that would be cool.
Yeah. All right, man. You got anything to plug?
No, I mean I don't really post much, but just the Above Average Joe again.
Budget the Above Average Joe on YouTube. Check him out. I have his the link in the show notes. But Joe, appreciate you coming on, man.
Appreciate
Telling
you
your
having
story takes a lot to tell that story. You know what I mean? And I appreciate it. So thanks everybody for listening to the 3820 podcast. I'm Rich G.
I'm the Above Average Joe.
There you go. All right. Peace.
Peace.
Things that I observe, yeah. Hey yo, things that I observe when I smoke herb and drink a lot of drink. See a girl, I'm Mr. Lover, yeah, Shabba ranks. Gorgeous girls all in my face, and y'all be tripping ankle brace. I ain't trying to hate, but what these wet panties insinuate. Damn, tons of safe sex and empty beer cans. Promiscuous hoes on their knees like Lieutenant Dan. My girl is a ball player, yours is Greg Ostertag. Sending naked pics to my phone while I'm in the lab. Speaking of which, I would like a peach pleasure from Jamba Juice. I get down on beer pong if y'all little fuckers know the rules. No restacks or air balls, just to name a few. And how you finna reach the top if y'all ain't got the proper tools? Like crew, bitch, slide it up and fucking smoke it. Yeah, you used to be this, now you're old and all corroded. So go ahead and pass the mic if y'all faggots keep on choking. Nah me, easy peasy hocus pocus. Inexpensive locomotives, that's how everybody know it's. Why you hanging out at Denny's and your girlfriend smell like donuts. Never seen a clown, well go look in the mirror. Say you like to listen while this shit right here is my career. What the fuck is up, man? This party isn't over. I got people throwing up and I got more hoes coming over. And I give them lots of vodka so they acting like Cochina. Play my music and they shake they bitty bump. I'm like Selena.